All right, good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for coming in today. Today, we're going to be talking about scam alerts and things that you need to watch as an online buyer. Whether you're going to be looking at things like silver, gold, numismatics, buying a purse, shoes, doesn't matter. All of the things we're going to talk about today are things that you can implement and use to protect you from being scammed. A lot of the information that I got today is going to be coming from various sources, primarily looking at things that are cyber related, but eBay has listed some items. There's going to be some items from Norton McAfee. There's going to be some FTC, Federal Trade Commission. So a lot of good information. Hopefully you guys like what's here. But before we do any of that, I'm going to say hi to everybody. So I hope everybody's good. Thank you all for being here. So Perplexed Mind, Victoria, good to see you. I hope you guys are really well. Me, Siren, thank you all for hanging out over here. I definitely appreciate you all. Thanks for coming in. James Schultz, what's up? Hope you're doing well. All right. And on the other side of the fence, we got EMR coins. We got AZ coins. We have Malcolm, Great Scott. Hey, Great Scott, I see you again. What's going on, brother? We have Kevin, Coins Making Sense. We have Bits. We have, that's it. I think that's all. And my face looks like it's really too much light. So let me see if there's too much light here. I think the sun's coming up, so I need to adjust my lighting a little bit. So let me shut the light down just a hair. All right, maybe now I won't look like I'm so bleached out. All right. Yeah, I think that's a lot better. Okay, there we go. I still got some little stuff on me, but I think I'm fine. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. So again, today we're going to be talking a little bit about protecting yourself. These are some of the common things that are happening when you're looking at things like eBay, when you're looking at Amazon, when you're looking at some of the other sites. So we're going to be talking about some of the potentials that happen. We're going to be looking at what the Federal Trade Commission states. We're going to talk about budgeting and finance when it comes to safeguarding and protecting things you should do, whether you're going to be utilizing third-party systems or whether you're going to stay inside the system in which you're using. For instance, we're going to be talking about eBay and talking about third-party payments. Be careful making sure that you don't go outside of those particular realms that are set up, those protections that are put in place for you. But not only are we going to be talking about issues where you get scammed from buyers, but we're also looking at the sellers. We're also going to be looking at potential ways in which buyers can scam sellers. So if you are a seller on eBay, or if you're a seller on Amazon or one of these other sites, this is also something that you're going to want to be looking at and listening to, because there's a lot of good information here. Hopefully you can take something from this, and hopefully the information is of benefit to you. So there's a total of about 17 of these that I've seen, but I'm only going to take you through about 10 of them. And then I'm going to go ahead and open it up. We'll do what we normally do. We'll chit chat. We'll have some fun, talk about whatever the hell random stuff comes up. But right now I really want to kind of focus on the kind of scams. Now, I'm not going to target specifically eBay, but eBay is one of those ones where you see a lot of this information. So I'll be referencing eBay, but again, we're looking at things like Whatnot. We're looking at things like Temu. We're looking at things like Amazon. So all these places, Walmart, doesn't matter where you shop. These are things you need to be careful with, because remember, a lot of times these spammers, these fishers can go through and they can create websites. They can create links and make you think that you're in a place that you're not. So we're going to look at some safeguards that you can put into place to protect yourself, because ultimately it's about saving your money so that you can put the money where you want it, right? Into coins, into gold, into bullion, and saving up for either that SHTF or adding another juicy little trophy to your collection. All right. So let's see what we got here. HVAC Residence is here. Shift Kicker's here. Good to see you. Starika just came in the door. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. And please do me a favor, smash that thumbs up. And I want to tell you guys about something that's happening this weekend and this weekend only. I am only 50 subs away. So if you look right here, just above here, or if you're looking in landscape mode over there in the bottom corner, you're going to see that I'm at 3,950. If I can get 50 subs today and tomorrow, okay, by the end of day tomorrow, I'm giving away gold or platinum. Now, I'm going to let the winner decide, but it's going to be either gold or platinum. I need 50 subs, a day and a half, easy peasy. We can do that. We can get there. So if you're interested in gold, do me a favor, share it out. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Make sure they're commenting in any video. And if we can get that to 4,000 by tomorrow evening, I'm going to be giving gold or platinum away. All right. So do your best and I will do mine to make sure that I'm there and I deserve what you guys give me. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and dig into this. We're going to make this a little bit sweeter. We're going to be talking about a photo scam only. Now, photo scam only is something that, and again, primarily we're talking about eBay, and I'm going to be doing this because eBay is a place where we see most of these. But you got to be careful, even on things like Whatnot, some of these other selling sites. Okay, so what a photo only scam is when they put the description in. So you can see over here, and I know it's really small, but they'll put the description of whatever it is. It might be an open box, or there may be a photo of something sitting there, and the description will say, PS2, right? And it'll say photo only. And so you're looking at it, it's like, oh, okay, well, they just posted a photo, not a big deal. And so you spend $299 to pick up this PS2. The problem with that is that they have labeled it photo only. So all you're going to get is a photo of the PS2. This also happens with open box. If it says open box only or something of that nature, you really got to read the description and read your headers. Now, this is something that I was quite surprised by. Like, I really never even imagined kind of the tricky little nuance that somebody would play in relation to posting a picture of something and selling that picture for $200, $300, $400. So you got to be careful. So I went through it to see if I could find any of those. I haven't been able to find any. I'm sure they're probably up. If you happen to see one, let me know. Take a screenshot of it, send it to me via email. You can find my email by doing !email. And if you want, you can do something else. If you want to call out your own channel, you're more than welcome to do so. Do ! Find me. It'll bring up your channel in chat and you can do that. If you want to do something fun and you want to redeem something goofy, then you can do something like the redeem commands. We have pirate, we have cake, we have dogs, we have cats, we have all sorts of weird stuff. Try to find a command and see if it lights up the alert box. If it does, good on you. If you don't have enough coins, make sure you tag me or one of my mods. Let them know that you don't have enough coins and we'll do what we can to help you out. Brown Sugar, Cat Mom, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys coming in. Links59, I hope you're doing really well. Thank you for being here. All right, so this photo thing, again, it was one of those things that really surprised me. I wasn't really anticipating that. But the next one that I saw, it should come of no surprise to anybody. Counterfeits and knockoffs. What's up, Check Stacker? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thanks for being here today. Please make sure you're smashing that thumbs up. And again, share it out, because if we can get to that 4,000 subs, I'm giving gold or platinum away. Okay. All right. Counterfeits and knockoffs. Now I want you to look at this picture very carefully. The picture that's here is a 1914D. Now this is a Lincoln cent and it is a key date, but if you look at it very closely, you're going to notice something. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to slide this over a little bit and I'm going to zoom up. And what you're going to see is you're going to see that there is a significant gap in the middle of this particular coin. Now, this is something that I've actually talked to a number of people about and told them that they really need to be careful when they're looking for key date coins. Matter of fact, this morning, I actually streamed for a couple hours, couldn't sleep, so I figured why not. And we talked about this very briefly, and I wanted to bring this particular coin up because this is something that happens a lot. And what they've actually done here is this is actually a 4. So if you look very, very carefully, I'm going to scroll in just a little bit more to see if I can show you this. But if you look very, very carefully, you will see the outline here where they kind of dug out the 4. Now you can see that it's quite a big gap here. Normally you'd have a small little gap, not this great big one here, but you can see this little indentation of that 4 right there. And so what they've done is they've actually shaved this off and they've actually made this look like a 14D. Now, this is something that happens quite frequently. This is a well-known error, or excuse me, this is a well-known kind of defacement, a counterfeit or fraud. And this is something that you really want to make sure that you're tracking on. The other thing that you're going to want to do when you're looking at specific ones on 1909S or 1931S is get familiar with the mint mark. Now, like on the 1909S VDB, we all know that's a huge one. There's only 4 mint mark styles. It's really easy, really, really easy to go to a place like Copper Coins, Wexler, or something like that. Pull up that information, find out if you can see exactly what's going on. And normally what you're going to find, if you're finding a counterfeit or you're finding that somebody's actually altered the coin or deviated the coin to make it look like something else, whether they removed or added a VDB or whether they removed or added the S, you're going to notice that it's most likely the wrong mint mark or it's in the wrong position. Now remember, when we're talking about positioning of the coin, it's extremely imperative that you remember that position is everything. It can't be close. It's got to be exact. Making sure that positioning, that location in relation to the 9 or in the 1, making sure that position is exact is very, very important. Another thing that happens when you're talking about counterfeits or people trying to pull one over is blurry or fuzzy photos, or they take a stock photo. There's something that you can do when they take stock photos, and that's what they call reverse photoing. And this is where you actually go out, you find the stock photo, and you say to, you actually reach out to them, contact the seller or whatnot. Hey, I know you're showing a stock photo. Can you actually take a picture of the coin for me? Please make sure it has highlight that I can see it very clearly. What that'll normally do is they'll say something like, well, I'm not at home and I can't do that. Well, don't continue that purchase until you get a good quality photo. Now, does that mean that they won't try to fool you or pull one over? No, they still might try to do that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have protections in place. Document every email that you send. If you ask to show the weight, have them show you the weight. If you ask about returns, show the returns. There's a lot of things that you can do that if they're really serious about it, they'll make sure that that stuff is there. But if they really are kind of shady or whatnot, they're going to cancel that sale. They're going to pull this off. They're going to disappear. So be really careful, especially when you're dealing with coins that are extremely expensive. Jackalope Herdmaster says, there's a seller that I buy from regularly that common uses stock photos. I don't bid on those listings. Again, if you 100% equivocally trust, like unequivocally trust, right? Like you can trust them without a shadow of a doubt, then do it, right? That's completely up to you. Personally, I'm always going to ask. I've got a couple of friends, you guys know them, Mr. and Mrs. Coin Crew, right? They have Coin Zone. And if we're going to be doing business, it doesn't matter how much I know them. I'm going to be buying gold from them. I want them to show me the gold test. I'm going to want to see them do that. If I have questions about a coin or I have questions about something that's going on, we're going to be getting on a Teams call. We're going to be getting on StreamYard call. We're going to be getting on something. We're going to be talking about it. Doesn't matter if we're going to be on, FaceTime or anything like that. I'm going to be talking with them. We're going to be working this out. Ultimately, it's about protection of yourself. And if you're friends with the coin shop or something like that, you're also protecting them. You're wanting to make sure that they've done the due diligence to look at those particular coins. Anybody who's your friend, okay, friend, and I do this because sometimes you have friends that aren't really your friends. They're just acquaintances. But if you have a friend and you know that you're asking questions and you're doing this and they're getting pissed off with you, remind them that this is just as much a protection for you as it is me. Because if I happen to get something that's not authentic, then we're going to have a discussion and I would rather not go there, right? Let's have a good working relationship, business, friendship. Okay. So again, you're going to want to watch these particular things. Now I'm going to drop this back down and I'm going to go to the next one. The next one is the non-delivery scam. Now, this is something that, and I don't want to say that we see this in the community, but this is something that I've seen happen to a lot of different people, not just in the community, but across the board. It happens on Amazon. It happens on through PayPal. It happens through eBay. It happens through Temu. It doesn't matter what store, what shop, what site, what e-commerce thing that you're utilizing. This is a real potential and something you really have to be careful with. What's up, Compton? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. So the non-delivery scam is something that is happening more and more. And basically what they do is they send a package. Now, they may send a package to you and it may be listed to the wrong name. Okay. So for instance, they're sending Frosty a package and it comes with, I'm going to pick on you, Check. Okay. So it comes to Check Stacker. And I'm like, oh man, they sent this to the wrong address. I'm going to go ahead and return it because I want to make sure that the right person gets this. Well, what happens is that they get the delivery receipt, right? So they have it. You've received it. Now you return it. That's fine. But the problem is that the return came from them. You never got the return back. And so it's a non-delivery. So you never get your package, but you'll never get your money back because you returned a package that technically didn't come to you. And so it's kind of a sneaky little game. You can look at things like non-tangible items, okay? These are items, again, you'll see these listed here. How many people have heard of Fiverr, right? Raise your hand, say, yes, I've done it, thumbs up, whatever it might be. You're wanting somebody to do a service for you. So you're going to put in an ad, or you're going to have somebody do, an app on your phone, or you're going to have somebody do some graphic imaging for you. And so you pay, but you never actually get the fee. You go to complain about it, but again, they distributed information to you and it just doesn't happen. These are all different types of non-delivery scams, and these are things you really want to watch. Now, what you can do is make sure that when you're utilizing these, you're utilizing your credit card, okay? Not debit, credit. And the reason that you utilize credit here is the credit card systems, not debit, have certain protections in place to protect against fraud. And what you have to do is when you're doing something like this, when you're conducting business like this, you really want to make sure that you're documenting things carefully. Who you're talking to, what your request is, what the date is, what they've sent you, the date you've done it. Make sure you're tracking all of these items because then you can return that information to the credit card company and they can begin their investigation. More times than not, your protection will carry more weight than the sellers. Okay. Now, this leads to another one, and this is something that you have to be careful with because even though it's not necessarily tied to the non-delivery scam, one thing that can happen is that you can get scammed as the seller. And they can say they didn't receive the item or that the item was damaged or the item wasn't whatever. And because they say, well, it's claimed or damaged, we're not going to do this. What ends up happening is they say, well, keep it. We'll send you out a replacement. And then they say, well, no, just cancel it. So they keep it, they cancel the money, they get the thing, but they never get the return. So you've got to be really careful with some of these items. Now, this is why I always say go with trusted sources. Make sure that you're finding people in the community, or make sure you're looking at how many reviews do they have. If you're going to somebody and they have one review, does that mean that they're a bad person? No. Does that mean that they're trying to scam you? No. Does that mean that they're out to trick you and take your money and steal and lie and rob you? No. It could mean that they're brand new. But usually the indicator is if they only have one or two, there's probably something that's not right there. Okay. Especially if you look at their feedback. Now, if you were to look at my eBay and you go in there, I don't sell. So I have 0 sold listings, but I got 100% positive feedback. So that shows that I'm a loyal buyer, and I go in, I take care of my stuff, I pay on time. You'll see the information, you see all that stuff, everything is good. But if I go to sell, how many people are more likely to click on the information that I put out there? How many people are going to click on the item that I'm trying to sell? Not very many. This is why it's really hard to get your kickstart on eBay if you don't have items that are nice, easy, even ebb and flow. Okay. Michael Stacking, what's going up? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming in. Thank you for being a channel member. I definitely appreciate you. All right. The next one is the bypass. Now, this one, folks, there are so many things tied to fraud and this particular element. Now, I'm talking specifically about eBay, but I just want you to understand that this is not just an eBay thing. You can have people defraud you. They can pretend to be your bank. They can pretend to be another agency. They can pretend to be the police. This particular bypass is something that is a real thing, and you really need to be careful for it. This is one of the highest phishing attempt style type items, and we're going to really break this down because there's a lot of things you need to look at. Now, I'm going to start with eBay, but there's a lot more to come. So don't go anywhere because there's a lot of good information in this. Number one, bypass eBay. So you get a seller. So I'm reaching out, and I'm going to pick on CheckStacker again because he's in there, number of reviews, right? Take the time to read the feedback. That's true. That's exactly true. So I'm going to pick on CheckStacker. Hey, what's up, Steve? Looking for silver. How you doing? I hit 100 subs. Michael Stacking says, congratulations, brother. That's awesome. All right. So we have a conversation. Check and I are going through, and he's like, hey, I got this gold coin. And I'm like, oh, I'm really interested in it. Outstanding. And he's like, but you know what? Why don't you just email me here? We'll work this out. You can just send me the money through Zelle. Okay, that's a flag. Number one, eBay has processes in place to protect the buyer and the seller. If you leave that platform and take it outside of that, you no longer have any protection. You're going to see this in a couple different places. And some of the items you're going to be looking at are Cash App, Zelle, Apple Pay, right? Where they don't offer as much consumer protection, especially if you are leaving the sanctity of the site in which you're buying it for. Use the e-commerce site tied to wherever it is that you're buying. If you're doing it through Whatnot, obviously Whatnot has its own thing, and when you click on it, pay, it sends it. If you're doing eBay, go through the eBay store. Get that stuff done. Register your stuff. Put it in. Do it through eBay. It's taken care of. Temu, all of those sites, right? Because they're required by law to make sure certain protections and things are in place. Now, the process may be a pain in the butt to try and get that stuff back, but you're going to want to make sure that you go through those particular agencies. Now, I'm going to piss a couple people off. And if I piss you off, please understand that I'm saying this as a protection. I'm not saying it to target or slander anyone. Okay? We're all friends here. We can all discuss things openly. If you are doing transactions, I don't care if it's your brother, your sister, your friend, if you trust them and you're providing a service of $5, $10, whatever, and you want to do friends and family, do friends and family. No big deal. If you're buying expensive items, even if it's from people you trust, friends and family is a bad business move. And I'm going to explain to you why. It's not that, oh my God, I don't trust them. Oh my God, I don't want to do that. It's protection, not only for the seller, but for the buyer. Now, if you're doing basic stuff and you're going to run a game or do something like that, fine, whatever. It's between you and the person doing it, not a big deal. But if you're talking about doing a half ounce of gold or an ounce of gold or something of that nature, pay the 3% and enjoy the protection that is offered you through PayPal. If you pay friends and family and something is lost or something gets stolen, you are not covered. It's gone. It's done. And if you are the seller, and this has happened to a number of people that are probably watching this right now, if you're doing that and you're going through and that money comes out of your pocket, okay, there's no protection, there's no insurance, there's no coverage. So if you are doing really, really large purchases for the protection of both people, my recommendation is to goods and services. Now, if you have good relationship with somebody and you know it and you can do it and you can 100% trust them, that is your call. But again, even if they're your friend, they can be a family member for all I care. Okay. Yep. That's exactly where I'm going. Doesn't matter. Friends and family, you gotta love them. They're good for you. They're good for your heart. They join their life's blood. They bring a smile to your face. In some cases, they don't. But doesn't matter if they're friends or family. Business is business, and you take care of business just like you would if you owned one, and you make sure that those protections are in place. Again, as much for you as it is for them. So stay within the confines of what it's designed for. Now, let's get into phishing and scam, because what's going to happen in this particular subset is if you're looking at a bank or you're looking at somebody who says, hey, you have an issue at your bank and we need to transfer this money to Apple Pay so that we can put it in a new account. Well, a lot of people would go, that doesn't make any sense, right? That doesn't make any sense. Why? You're a bank. You can transfer the money. It's right there. Why would you need me to transfer it? But there are tactics that are utilized, and you'll see this a lot of times when it's early in the morning, late at night. You may be coming off a long shift. You may have been out drinking, whatever. You get a phone call. Hey, you have a problem. They sound panicked. Like, oh my God, you're going to have to do this. We're going to shut this down. You're going to lose your money. We really need to move this. Things are going to happen. It's going to be whatever. And what happens? Somebody makes a quick reaction. They transfer money and all of a sudden that's gone. If you do something like that, if you get a call like that, always, always, always validate and verify by hanging up with those people and calling your financial institution. Always. I have hung up on my financial institution, and it actually was my financial institution. And I'm like, hey, somebody just called me from here. It's like, yes, that was me. Oh, outstanding. Great. Now I know I'm actually talking to the person that I'm talking to. I have hung up on the VA, the Veterans Administration, because they have called me and asked me for personal information. And I was like, sorry, I'll call you back. I'm not giving you that information. I don't care if it's to schedule an appointment. You don't call me and ask for my personal information. I will call you back. I will call to your office. They can transfer accordingly and do that. Be very aware that people can fake voices. We have AI. They can use whatever voice they want. They can fake telephone numbers. They can copy and duplicate websites. So be very, very careful when you're doing transactions regarding money or personal information. PII, personal information or personal health information. Okay. Personally identifiable information is PII. So you really, really, really want to be careful. I don't buy, I didn't see what she said. I don't buy off anyone who makes me figure out and pay the seller fees and price them and cover fees instead of tricking people into thinking they're paying fees. Not sure what that means. I don't buy off anybody. Hey, Dog World, what's up? Thank you for coming in for the $10 super chat. Greatly appreciate it. Let me read this comment again because I'm not sure I read this. I don't buy off anyone who makes me figure out and pay the fees. Seller needs to pay price items. Okay. I don't have a problem if I require, like, they're like, okay, well, we want you to do friends and family. Again, thank you for the $10 super chat, Dog World. I appreciate you. If I'm doing a transaction and I make the request, I'd rather do this friends and family. I don't mind picking up the additional 3%, right? I don't even mind doing the math on it. What I don't want to do is I don't want to pay for something. Now, I have sent money to people and not done that friends and family because I know who they are and I trust them, and I'm not dealing with massive amounts of money. But if I have a really big transaction, like you or not, friend or not, if I'm sending $1,000, $2,000, $4,000, whatever, you better well guarantee that I'm protecting my money. That's my money. And it's not your money until it's secure in your shop. That's my money. I'm protecting my money, right? So it doesn't matter how good of a friend they are, if they're family, whatever. It's my money until that service or that item is in my hands. So I'm very careful about that. And again, it's really important to utilize the protections within e-commerce that are afforded to you. Again, debit cards are great. They're easy, but debit cards don't always offer you the same protection as a credit card does. Now, with that, I want to also urge caution about utilizing credit cards. If you're going to do credit cards, do not charge for gold, silver, and coins, right? Don't put it on credit because you'll end up paying way more than it's worth in the long run. If you're going to do that, have a good budget, put things in place to where as soon as you pay it, that comes back. If you have a credit card that you utilize to do stuff like budgeting and things like that, then you know what? Pay it on there, get those points, immediately pay it off. Have it set up to where there's an allotment or an automatic payment for the full payment every month. And if you can't pay the full payment every month, you shouldn't be buying that stuff to begin with. So make sure that you stay within your means. But sometimes you can get points, but credit cards offer way more protection than debit cards ever will. Plus, if somebody gets your credit card, it's much easier to reverse the charges on fraud than it is if they get your debit card information and they wipe you out. Okay? So be very, very careful. Me says, I use credit cards because I get the points and I pay it off each month. Yeah. If you're disciplined enough to do that, then do it. But the thing is you got to be disciplined enough in order to do it. Okay. So that's going to be the premise. That's going to be the key. Too often people get credit cards with the intent to do that and it doesn't happen. Right. I've been a victim of that myself. I've done it way too many times. You get caught up in something, you want to do it, and all of a sudden you're $500 more than you wanted to spend. So make sure that you have the money to do it. If you have any doubts, we talked about this the other day. Malcolm was in here. If you have any doubts, walk away from it, right? Robert Pintoff said, if you have any questions about the sale, walk away from it. You can always come back. Sometimes you'll lose out on good deals. Sometimes you won't. But again, it's about protecting yourself. This one is something that I've seen and actually have had happen to me in places like eBay or Amazon, things of that nature. And that is the feedback extortion loop. So the feedback extortion loop works something like this. Hey, I got this piece, but it isn't exactly what I want. I need you to send me the adapter free. If you don't send me that adapter, I'm going to put on there that you guys charge me too much money, that the item came broken. I'm going to land blast you. I'm going to ridicule you. I'm going to blow up your page. I'm going to get all my friends to give you nasty reviews. That's threat. It's a form of abuse, right? So what you need to do is make sure you document all of that stuff. Okay. This is a real thing people utilize because feedback in many avenues is very important if you're a seller. Okay. Making sure you have good feedback, making sure that you have a good reputation. You want to make sure that those things are protected. And so it really is important to a lot of people that you watch and safeguard those particular items. So there are people who take this very, very, very seriously. And so people will utilize that, especially if it's like, hey, make sure you leave in a nice comment. If there's anything that I can do, please let me know because I want to make sure we safeguard this and blah, 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 blah. Then they know that this is important to you. They may dig into that endeavor. If they do that, it is a crime. So make sure that you're documenting that, reporting it to the authorities on that particular site, or even things like the Federal Trade Commission, and have them begin investigations. The Federal Trade Commission is your friend in situations like this. Okay. The FTC is something that I've utilized a number of times to resolve situations. I've used the Better Business Bureau. I've used a lot of different agencies to help me with my consumer rights. So make sure that you take care of those consumer rights. Make sure you're utilizing those things to their proper degree, and make sure you're utilizing them for the proper purposes. Okay. Do not let somebody railroad you. One of the primary tools that scammers utilize is fear. They call you and they threaten you. They scream at you. They yell at you. They tell you you're a worthless POS. They tell you that they're going to lose their kid. They tell you that they're going to lose their family. They're going to get fired. They're going to do all this stuff. They put the fear. They make you feel like you're small, like you're tiny. Be very, very, very careful. If you get a salesperson or you get somebody who's claiming to be the FBI, you get somebody who's claiming to be the IRS, and they're belligerent and yelling at you and telling you they're going to come after you and they're going to hang you and they're going to hang up on them. Hang up on them. Tell them to show up to your house. Bring the warrant, bring the discussion. We can have this in face. Bring it, right? Do that because they're going to utilize this thing. Now, if they call you, hi, this is what's going on. This is what happened. This is where we're at. This is what this looks like. We need to do this. It's a legitimate thing. You have taxes due. The IRS reaches out to you. They're going to send you a letter. They're not going to call you and say, I'm sending the authorities over. We're going to take your kids. They're not going to do that. They're not going to threaten you like that. Another thing that a lot of agencies will not do is they will never call you and say, I just sent you a 5-digit code. Can you please tell me what the code is? Companies are not going to do stuff like that. Okay. They're not going to look at getting feedback from you on their own system. Your credit union is not going to call you, or your bank is not going to call you and say, we just sent you a 10-digit code. Can you please read that back to me to make sure that that's there? If you call your credit union or you call your bank and they say, hey, just to validate your account, we're going to send you a code. Are you okay with this? That's something different. That's instigated by you. They're never going to cold call you and say, this is what's going on. So be very careful. Make sure you understand the way that they use feedback. Negative feedback, harsh, targeted feedback is something that is serious. And a lot of people utilize it because that fear, that instillment of fear or protecting yourself or whatever is something that they will utilize to get you off of your game, especially our senior citizens. Senior citizens are more prone to this. They are usually targeted. You can look at various sites. You can look at various pieces of information. Just look at it on YouTube. It's all over the place. You'll see that consumer protection of seniors is a massive, massive undertaking because they are high target, especially because a lot of these people have retirement accounts. They have their life savings there. These people are not trying to clean them out of a couple $1,000s. They're trying to clean their savings out. So you really, really, really want to make sure that you are protecting that. And again, protecting those elderly. All right. Customer service scams. This goes in relation to exactly what I just talked about. This is something that's like, hi, this is Microsoft. We noticed that you have a virus on your computer. As a technician. Hey, Wolf Metal, what's going on? Good to see you. Microsoft could give a rat's ass less about you. They're not going to call you. If you're not a business and you don't have 2,000 accounts, you're not with a small business, you don't have that information, you don't have a designated salesperson, Microsoft will never, ever call you and tell you that you have a virus on your computer. McAfee will never call you and say, we did a vulnerability scan and you have viruses on your computer. We need to run this. They won't do it. Okay. A lot of times they get these calls and it's like, hey, Microsoft called me and told me that they needed to access my computer. So I gave them access and they went in and everything went black. I couldn't see what they're doing. And they made me log in to pay them, but I already paid them through my credit card, but they didn't go through and I had to pay them from my bank. So I logged into my bank account. Don't do that, right? Never log in. If you're working with a technician, if you are working with somebody, you call this, you instill this, you instigate it. Never share your banking information on your computer live, ever, right? I have a real dislike for remote access of my computer. Even when it comes to work, I have a real dislike for it because once they're in, now you can see what they're doing unless they're really good. And then if you're not computer savvy, you wouldn't know what they're doing. But they turn the tide on you by saying, they're here to help you. And your computer's been running really slow. Well, it could be a virus that they installed on your machine by sending you malware or by sending you an email of a little dog bouncing back and forth that actually is a virus, or sending you a PDF with a whole bunch of numbers and listings and pictures that are actually Trojans, right? A lot of these things they can instill into your computer because, you want to play games and there's this new game that came across your email and you want to check it out. So you click on this item without really checking or running a security scan. Don't do that. Now, all of this to be said because, one, I've heard this a number of times. I just had a friend call me and tell me probably about an hour ago that we were talking about this beforehand, that they were having an issue with their computer and they wanted to know if they should give the technician access to their computer. And I was like, hold on, did you call them? They're like, no, they called me and said that they had scanned it. No, don't. My son was an identity theft victim. I've been an identity theft victim. My son, they called him and said, oh my God, we're your credit union and you're going to lose money if you don't transfer this money to us right now. You need to take the money from this account and send it to us through your cash app, your Apple Pay, right? Transfer that money back into this account. Here's the new account number. And they gave him what he thought was the right routing number and information, but transferred it directly into somebody else's. The moment they hit it, they hung up the telephone. He realized that he had been scammed. My wife's ex-mother-in-law received a call saying that my son had hit a pregnant woman and she was in the hospital and that they were going to be suing him. He was in jail and he needed, $2,500 to get out of jail. Now, she didn't have the money, thank God, but she called us and said, hey, we need $2,500 to get our son out of jail. My wife called the jail and she called me in a panic. And I was like, whoa. Hold on. I know where he's at. He's not in jail. He's at Taekwondo. I can tell you exactly where he's at. I just left that area a little while ago and I know he's there. Again, people will utilize, they targeted the elderly in this particular case. Now, how did they know my son's name? They didn't. They actually called and said, "Hi, Grandma." And she said, "Hi, is this?" And named his name. And they said, yes. Now they had that information. And so they played it accordingly. So, folks, I really want you guys to make sure you're thinking logically. If you get somebody that says something or just doesn't seem right to you, take a minute and say, you know what? I need to take a break. I need to think about this. I'm not sure that this is right. And call somebody and say, hey, this is what's going on. This just happened to me. And you know what? A lot of people feel like they'll be embarrassed. But I can tell you right now, be embarrassed and find out that you're wrong and that it actually was okay than being embarrassed and losing thousands of dollars. Don't be a victim of identity theft. Don't be a victim of fraud. And don't fall for some of these scams that I showed you today. Now, again, I talked a lot about them being on eBay, but it's not just eBay. There's other sites that this can happen on. Okay. We in the coin collecting community, silver, gold stacking community, see fake gold, fake silver, fake PAMP, fake PAMP Swiss, fake Valcambis. We see these things all the time. Pre-33 gold that's fake. We see fake ASCs. We see fake coins all the time. I mean, for God's sakes, they have a fake 1959 or 1958 S wheat cent. Why? The coin doesn't even exist, but somebody took the time to make it. So make sure you do your due diligence. Okay. Make sure you're looking at things. You see a really cool coin. Go look up the red book. Excuse me. Go look the red book up and make sure that the coin exists. If you see a 1929 peace dollar, you got a problem. If you see a 1924 Morgan, you got a problem. If you're seeing an 1875 Morgan, you have a problem, right? If you're seeing a 1973 2-cent piece, not 1873, 1973, you got a problem, right? So make sure you do due diligence. Look, validate, verify before you pull the plug. If at any time, your little spidey sense starts tingling, your mind has a really good way. If you get that kind of gut feeling, you're like, oh man, I better do this, but it just doesn't sound right. If you say that to yourself at any point in any kind of transaction ever, anywhere, ever, walk away from it. You can always come back, but walk away from it. That's that little inside voice telling you, hey, there's something not right here. More times than not, that little voice inside your head is going to be the one to tell you, walk away. And if you listen to it, most of the time, it's going to be valid. It's going to be a point that there was something wrong. I knew it was wrong, and you're going to be validated. So be very, very careful when you have that. Do not overestimate that small, still voice that sits inside your head. Now, whether you're religious or not, you believe in that, or whether you think it's, divine providence, or whether that's that devil and the angel sitting on your shoulder, whatever you believe it to be, know that your mind's eye sees and hears things. And sometimes they just won't sound right. So make sure you're tracking that, make sure you're acknowledging that, and make sure you don't fall for some of these scams. Okay. Now, one thing that I will tell you regarding some of these scams. Now, I'm going to get back to chat here in just a second, and I'm going to look at that. I really haven't been paying attention to chat, but I'm going to go ahead and get to that here in just a second. The one thing I really want to look at when it comes to scams, especially eBay, okay, is where did the coin come from? Okay. If you're shopping on Temu and you're buying coins, you're going to get fake stuff. Okay. If you buy a coin that's in an NGC holder that has a PCGS label, that's a flag. If you're looking through the listing and it's spelled, every other word is spelled wrong, that's a flag. Take time to read the comments. That was said a couple times in here. Take time to actually read the comments. If all of the comments are spoken in broken language, that should be a flag. Now, it doesn't mean that you're just dealing with people who don't have a very good English dialect or they're not very good at English. Now, there's a possibility. But again, where's the coin coming from? Right? A lot of times, and this has happened to me and my wife so many times, and it's so aggravating. I will always, forever and always, end the transaction. I go in and I look. You're going to get this on the 24th of July. Cool. You make the transaction, you do the thing. And then you get notification that it's going to come August 1st and it's coming from mainland China. End transaction. I can't trust anymore, any further, because the location was a lie, the transaction was a lie, the delivery count was a lie. I'll end it. It doesn't matter if it's something that I wanted, I'll end it. Because if they can't be upfront right off the get-go, I'm not doing business with them. I need that level of integrity. I need that level of transparency if I'm going to be conducting business. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know what they're shipping. I don't know if it's going to get held up in customs. I don't know if there's additional cost that's going to be associated. If it's going to go somewhere and I'm not going to get it because it violates some sort of custom or some sort of treaty. No. If it says it's coming from the US and then they state back and it's coming from New Jersey, and then all of a sudden now it's coming from mainland China, I will automatically end the transaction. Now, if you know it's coming from there and you're going to make the transaction and that's what you're going to do, that's fine. But again, if you're dealing with coins or gold or something of that nature, and it has a US address and then all of a sudden it changes, be leery of it, right? Make sure that you have those protections in place. Make sure you're utilizing the entity in which you're utilizing. So if it's on eBay, use it on eBay. If it's on Amazon, make sure your e-commerce is happening through Amazon. Make sure you're utilizing credit cards, not debit cards, but credit cards or PayPal and things of that nature that have built-in protections. Okay, so make sure you put those things in place. Make sure you look at those particular items. Because again, the more you protect yourself, the more you look at these things, the more you'll identify things aren't right, and the more that you'll be able to protect yourself and protect your investment. That's the primary gist of what I wanted to talk about today. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to go ahead and turn to chat. Now, I don't have my normal guests. So Paula and Eric are probably doing other things. I haven't seen them in chat, but I haven't really been focusing on chat. So I'm going to go back to chat and I'm going to read some comments really quick. And I'm going to start with about as high as I can go. It seems like people only take time to give bad reviews and can't be bothered with good ones. Sometimes. I always try to make sure that I leave my positive reviews. If I have a bad review, I personally, and again, a lot of people aren't this way, but if Frosty has an issue, I'm contacting the seller. I'm going to be working with the seller. I'm going to be talking with the seller to find out, hey, what kind of rectification can we come from this? Hey, what kind of solution can we happen? I'm not just bringing them the problem. I'm going to bring them potential solutions. Now, a lot of people aren't that way, but if you want to be a good buyer and you want to be a good seller, then do unto others, right? The whole golden rule. So bring the problem before them, tell them how you might be able to rectify it. Let them make the decision, come together as an agreement. If you can come together on terms, you can come together in an agreement and it's fine, then good. If you have to escalate it and move it up, then do so. But again, try to always resolve it at the lowest level. If you get labeled as a bad buyer, you're going to have a lot of people that won't want to do business with you. Now, if you have buying all sorts of small stuff, you're buying little eye drops or whatever on the regular, but you're not really spending a lot of money, it might not be a big issue. But if you're buying gold and silver from trusted sources and you start getting this bad report as a buyer, people may not want to do business with you. So again, integrity first, integrity above all else. It's a core value for most military structures, right? Integrity before self. So again, make sure you maintain that level of integrity. But I agree, Miss Coin Crew. It is one of those things that negative comments, it's really easy. This is why I always try to comment and build up people, right? Instead of trying to tear them down. Take my kids, they can have them. Yeah, it is what it is, right? All right, check stacker. A lot of scammers try to get a code from you to register Google Voice number in your name. This is another one. So I'm glad you said that, Check, because there's another thing that we need to look at. One of the items that you need to be careful with, raise of hands. Okay, please, first off, smash those thumbs. If you're not a subscriber, please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Again, 50 subs for a potential gold or a platinum giveaway after tomorrow. So just as a reminder, okay, you don't have to do it, but if you can, smash that thumb and hit that sub if you haven't done it. All right, so let's go ahead and hit that discussion. Hold on, what did we get here? What did we get here? Holy smokes, 949 with a $9.99 super chat. Good morning, Frosty. Just lurking and want to be on hold. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in, 949. Thank you for that $10 super chat. I so sincerely appreciate you. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to that comment. Scammers try to get a code from you to register a Google Voice number. How many of you, by raise of hands, okay, you can put a little hand emoji, thumbs up, whatever it might be, have got a call and said, doesn't matter what nationality they are, hi, this is so-and-so, can you hear me? They just want to get that yes. That's what they're looking for. They want to record you saying yes. They want to record you saying okay. Yeah, no problem. They want to record that. That's an affirmation statement. And a lot of times they will do those calls. You'll get those robocalls and they'll say, can you hear me? And what they're doing is they're recording the conversation. They want to get that so they can set things up in your name. I always avoid the affirmation statements. Hi, can you hear me? Are you able to hear me? I can hear you loud and clear. What about me? Can you hear me? Be careful with the yes, no's. Okay? Be careful with I can. Be careful with affirm. Anything that means yes. I have no problem hearing you. That is a direct statement saying something. It is not confirmation of something that somebody can utilize. Okay? So be very careful with affirmation statements. A lot of times you'll get these people, it's like, hello, are you there? Yeah, I'm here. Don't say yeah, right? I'm here. Present. You? Outstanding. How can I help you? Not the way I understand it. So be careful how you use your words of affirmation, okay? Because affirming phrases can be utilized to do like the Google numbers and things of that nature. Scammers can copy any telephone number. So just because your kid calls you doesn't mean it's necessarily your kid. Have code words in place, okay, with your family and your friends. Have code words in place so that if there is an emergency, Mom, I need $500, like right now. What's the code word? You put things in place, something obscure that nobody else would think of. And you save that between you two. You never share it outside of the normal realm of discussion. You never text it to them. You never email it to them. It is a face-to-face, one-on-one conversation. This is the call. This is the telephone. This is the action. This is what needs to be said. You can make it a phrase, you can make it a word, but make it something so obscure nobody can copy it. As you're blue at Deerfield Beach, just finished running and sitting in my car with one of the workout partners. He keeps telling me about the scam his mother was taken advantage of for $500,000. Yeah, it's a real thing. And that's it. It crushes me. Hey, Muscle Shell, it's exclamation point. Find me. You need the exclamation point. Yeah, it's crushing to hear of the elderly being absolutely railroaded and taken advantage of. I hear again just number of these because of what I do for a living. Hear people all the time getting called. We get calls all the time, and it's funny because as and the entity that we work for, getting calls saying, "Hey, we're the IRS." It's like outstanding, right? What's your federal access number? Excuse me? What's your federal access number? Right? And they're like, and then they hang up, not realizing that they've called an actual agency, another entity. So you've got to be very careful. You've got to be very, very aware that they're trying to do everything they can. They want your money. They will stop at nothing to get it. They will lie, cheat. They will pretend to be your mom. They will tell you that family members have died. There is no qualm. There is no secrecy. There is no level or button too far that they won't cross because they want your money. So be careful. Again, when you're looking at things, and we've talked about different ways to check silver, gold, make sure you check the photos. Be careful with stock photos. Be careful with the empty box things. Be careful with all of these little things that will happen because, again, those things can really catch you. Just wait until these scammers get AI to duplicate your voice. It's already happening. There was a TED Talk that I listened to. If you guys like TED Talks, go Google TED Talks. Check TED Talks. Check in AI. Check in scamming. Check in technology. Check in and I don't have my wallet up here. Make sure you're using RFI protected wallets. Ladies, RFI protected purses. Make sure your purses. Make sure your credit cards and your debit cards have RFI protected skins on them, right? Somebody can walk by you with an RFI reader and scanner. They don't even have to touch you. They just scan your butt. They get your information. So make sure you're utilizing RF protected devices, right? They're cheap now. They're all over the place, but protect yourself. These are the kind of safeguards that you want to be putting into place. And the reason that I'm telling you this, not is because I'm not your financial advisor. I'm not your IT security advisor. I'm a coin collector and a stacker, and I like to make sure that the money that I have is going to go to the things that I want. I don't want to be paying somebody else because I thought that they were doing me a service. I don't want to lose 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000, 500,000 because somebody took me for a fool. I want to make sure that you guys have these things in place, and I want to make sure that you're safeguarded. So I'm going to provide you every piece of information that I can. Am I the sole source in this? Am I a person that, no, I'm not, right? There's a lot of stuff about this that I don't know. There are scams out there that are beyond my comprehension. I can just tell you on the ones that I've identified and stuff that I wanted to share with you today. Going back into the chat, Wolf Metals, not a typical scammer, but we had to go the higher ups and have our number removed from Dish Network. We were having them as a service at the time. They kept calling and talking to my demented. Yeah. Again, they try and increase services, right? Even legit businesses will utilize stuff to their advantage because, again, confirmation, if they can confirm that you were doing this. So again, folks, protecting the elderly is very, very important, right? You need to put safeguards in place to protect the elderly. Okay. If you have grandparents, mothers, fathers, aunts, uncles that have, that suffer from mental health issues or suffer from disabilities, put protections in place for them. Okay. This is about protecting family and community. We do that here. Hashtag kindness. We talk about this stuff all the time. You want to make sure that protections are put into place. Man, you really need to protect the elderly. The elderly will make decisions thinking they're doing something good for their family. They don't want to do something wrong. They don't want to make the mistake. They don't want to be the problem. And they will utilize those feelings and they will utilize that against them. So be very, very careful and do what you can to protect them. Temu is quicksand. Temu is of the devil. Temu is horrible. It doesn't matter that they posted that stuff on the Super Bowl and that you did all that stuff. I don't care that they're there. As soon as I saw that commercial for the Super Bowl, I posted. Just because it's a Super Bowl ad doesn't make it okay. Folks, when we're talking about counterfeits, the counterfeits don't necessarily have to be silver and gold. They can be purses. They can be flip-flops. We talk about the number one most counterfeited item. It's a trivia question that I often ask. It's Eric Byer's favorite trivia question. What is the number one most counterfeited item in the world? Sandals, flip-flops, tongue cloths. Why? Well, because everybody needs them and they're easy to duplicate. It's the number one $500 billion a year industry. It dwarfs the next category, which is like purses and apparel, right? So again, the people that this hurt are the businesses and the small businesses that do that. In the coin community, counterfeiting is not only hurting the coin shops and the collectors, it's also hurting the economy because counterfeits flood the economy. You want to get a good example of this? Look at the loonie or the toonie with the bear and that, what they call the camel toe. There's so many of them that they can't pull them out of circulation. They're inundating, they're flooding the market, and they're ruining the value of their currency. So you really want to be careful buying and supporting these things. A lot of people will buy a counterfeit knowing it's a counterfeit because they want to put it in their book as a book fill until they can get the coin that's there. 1916D Merc, 1914D Lincoln Cent, 1931S Lincoln Cent, 1909S VDB Lincoln Cent. They get copies of it because they want to put it in their book just because they know they're not going to be able to get the other one. Don't do that. Put a piece of paper in there, indicate that it's not there, okay? You really want to make sure that those safeguards are put into place, okay? Don't support them. If you're going to these channels in YouTube and you see them putting information in and they're saying this 1909 cent, but they show you a 1955 double die, don't comment in there telling them it's wrong. It's a ploy to get you to engage. The more that you engage, the more people get to be targeted by the YouTube algorithm. This is a ploy that they utilize. They know the algorithm very well. They know how to do this. There is a bullion dealer. I refuse to do business with them. I refuse to buy anything from them because they sell gold bars. They knowingly call them coins. They call them coins because people want to correct them. These are not coins. Coins are government backed. They have a denomination. Oh, well, thank you for that. Well, I'm going to continue to call it a coin. Why do they do that? It drives up the engagement. It's all about engagement. A thumbs down is engagement. Just go to the next video. Bypass it. Forget it. They're banking on the engagement. Okay, don't fall victim to it. Don't fall prey to it. Don't comment on it. Just leave it alone. The more you comment, the more you build that engagement, and the more that you kind of play and feed that algorithm. You're paying them, essentially, is what you're doing. All right, time to run to the recycling center in the Amish store. Wolf Metal, take care of yourself. Thank you for coming in. I definitely appreciate you guys for being here. Make sure you're smashing that thumb on the way out. All right, folks, that's all I have for today. I know that we have muscle shell. Kindness is contagious. That's 100% correct. It's amazing what a little bit of kindness can do for our world. And again, folks, just as a reminder, if you get that still little voice inside your head that says, listen to it, right? Back off it. Hang up the phone. If it's a legitimate business, if it's actually an agency or somebody like that, they'll call you back. And they'll be like, hey, you hung up on me, right? Yeah. If they get obtuse with you, hang up on them again, right? Most government agencies, most banks won't call you and scream and yell at you, right? If they really want your money, they're going after you, they'll just send you to collections. The attorney general will call you. They will show up to your house and they will provide you a document that says you were subpoenaed. They will serve you papers. So they will never call and threaten you. It's against the law. They just won't do it. So just be aware. Trust your gut. Okay. Yeah, Papa Smurf, trust your gut. That's, again, your mind's eye when looking at things like counterfeit coins or errors, varieties, whatever. Your mind's eye is going to see those. Your ear has the same thing. Trust your ear, trust your instinct, trust that gut. All right, all. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Make sure you're going over to the premiere train. It is Saturday. And again, later on today, I'm not exactly sure what time, Bifrost and I are going to house a live stream. Now, the live stream, much like what we're doing today, again, I'm really pushing to that 4,000 subscriber mark, but I'm also going to work on growing Bifrost's channel. We are going to be doing what we call the merge. And the merge is we have a wheel of names. You know the wheel of names? Except this wheel of names has a ton of characters on it. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Voltron, Goofy, whatever they are, Trek, whatever they might be. And she's going to spin the wheel and it'll land on one. So we did one yesterday and it was Dopey. And so we spun another one and then it was in the style of Mike Wazowski from Monsters, Inc. And what she does is she's taking those two characters and she mashes them together and she is going to give those things away. Now they're going to be done electronically, so we'll be able to email you. It's going to save us a little bit of money when it comes to shipping. Again, it'll save you any costs associated with anything like that. But just to kind of build engagement, it'll be a lot of fun. She wants to do this. She wants to help grow the channel. We're going to be looking for subscribers. So every 5 subscribers we get, we're going to be giving one of those drawings away. It should be fun. But again, if we can get 50 subs by tomorrow evening, I'm going to be giving away gold or platinum. And it is going to be the choice of the person who wins it. Okay. If we don't get there, we don't give it away. No harm, no foul. I don't mind keeping my gold and platinum. Not a problem to me. But if you help me get there, then we'll make sure that we give that away. Jack Stacker with the $5 super chat. Great conversation today. Scams seem to be everywhere. They are indeed. Make sure you protect yourself from those. All right, folks, do me a favor. Tell Will's Treasures that Frostbyte sent you. Have a wonderful day. Again, take care of yourself. Trust your gut. Trust your fellow man and woman, but do so with an understanding that you need to verify and validate. Okay? It'll save you a lot of heartache in the end, and it'll definitely save you a loss of your pocket. All right. Take care. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you in the street.